Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
At this time, I'm going to call the meeting of Mayor and Council to order on Tuesday, March 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you'd all rise for the invocation by Councilman Orlando Holland.
Let us pray. Oh, Father God, we ask for your blessing for this meeting that's held here tonight and the people here participating. And we ask that you bless us with the wisdom, knowledge, and the common sense. Help us make wise and smart decisions for the city of Seaford. We pray, oh Father God, that when we leave to go depart, you bless with a safe trip home. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. If you remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Just as a reminder for council, we will have executive session this evening. Are there any changes to the agenda for tonight's meeting?
No, sir, there are not.
Okay. The regular meeting held on February 24th, 2026, the minutes have been provided to council in their packet. If there are no questions or comments regarding those minutes, I will accept the motion.
Councilwoman Grassett, I make a motion to approve the minutes from February 24th.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Grassett. Is there a second?
Councilman Bradley, I second the motion.
We have a second from Councilman Bradley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? They pass unanimously. Okay. At this time, I believe we're going to welcome up Director of Electric, Greg Brook, to make an announcement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I'd like to introduce to you Tyler Waske. He just started as a groundman in our department, January 26th. So he's worked through the great blizzard of 26. He's doing a great job for us, and we're happy to have him. So.
Walk the line.
Walk the line, buddy. Welcome.
Joining a good squad there. Welcome on board. Is there anyone here this evening for public comment?
No, sir.
Okay. Do we have any correspondence?
No, sir, we do not.
All right, we are moving. New business number 1, and I believe Ms. Newcomer's coming forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good
Good evening.
First, I want to apologize for my scratchy voice, not sure what's going on there, so we're going to try to make it through this. All right. So tonight, we have before you the recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Committee for the Jay's Nest. Parks and Recreation Committee met on Thursday, February 26th. As you're aware, we have been working with Tri-State Community Partners. They have a vested interest in helping us with our playground and in the future from there. They actually conducted a site evaluation on the playground that I believe is in your board pack, so you can see that. In late 25, our Parks and Recreation Department did some minor rehab based on the information we had got back to try to remediate some of the issues, and that assessment was shared with us. So just to kind of bring everybody back to center, and not everybody at our age is always out at the playground. So this is just a schematic of what is out there. You can see the swings are off to the left, and then you have the various different play features. You've got the belt bridge, the tightrope, the chain bridge, all of those things. The entrance to the playground is down at the bottom right-hand corner of that. These are some of the areas that need some help. Some recommendations were made that we need to remediate. As I mentioned, Parks and Recreation actually did go out and do some of the repairs in late 2025 as well. You can see some of that there. But through the evaluation process, the playground structural integrity itself, there's a large portion, probably based on that picture, 2/3 of it, that replacement is required immediately. It's beyond its useful life, unfortunately. It has certainly served the community very well. The areas in red are those areas that replacement is required. The small area in, I guess we'll call that maybe peach, they, in the assessment, said that a structural evaluation was needed. So that's also to say that if a structural evaluation was done, it could potentially also need to be replaced as well. So Tri-State Community Partners was here with us at our Parks and Recreation Committee meeting, and they provided, this is a high level of what their presentation is. As I said, they want to be in this with us to replace this playground and provide for the community. And so they have come up with a 3-phase type implementation plan, and how that kind of lays out. Certainly this was done with the initial assessment of some needing immediate removal and potentially some being rehabbed. So this first phase, which they're calling spring 2026, takes that into consideration of doing a structural evaluation. I think we've determined that probably its best bet is to just do the removal of everything at this point in time, because why spend the funds to ultimately end up having to turn around and remove it? We'd rather put those funds back into the site remediation, getting it ready and getting equipment out there for children to play on. So in this spring phase, we would be doing all of those work, as well as you know, there's the fence placards out there that from where the community had donated to the community or to the playground. So we're going to work with Parks and Recreation to get those back to those folks, to those individuals, while keeping a list of those individuals, because we really want to make sure that when this is revamped and redone, that we continue to recognize and keep a nod to those folks that put literally their sweat equity out there in making this playground happen. So we really want to make sure that that gets captured. The next phase is they're saying 6 to 12 months. This can start also simultaneously with that first phase in the fact that we can conduct a community survey, we can conduct some fundraising, and we can start all of that stuff pretty much right away, as soon as in the next few weeks. Looking for some grant funding. We've kind of got an eye to, you know, where we can try to go with some of that. So in hopes that we can get something out there sooner rather than later. Certainly this is going to be a phased project. I don't believe this will be a all in, you see all of the features of the playground happen at one time. I think over time, and based on whatever kind of community feedback we get, I think that's going to drive this playground, as it should. I mean, originally it was based on community efforts, and we want to make sure that we get that input as well. And then that's their phase 3. Let's hope this doesn't happen again. Their phase 3 is basically those same things: long-term construction of what the plan comes out to be, and the continued ongoing of community engagement and donor engagement. So the committee's recommendation is obviously, sadly, to go ahead and take down what is out there, just because of the safety of children. We want to make sure that that is paramount, making sure that our kids are safe. We do know that we have, and will strategically promote, that we do have additional playground features out at Sir Optimus Park and Nutter Park. So while it's not ideal, and this is a beloved location and playground, that as we are growing and making better, that we still have those options as well. I don't know, Dr. Grassett, you chaired the committee. I don't know if you have any thoughts you want to add. Certainly, Tri-State Community Partners is with us on this 100%, so they're ready to support and jump in.
It was not a decision we took lightly as a committee, because it is something that our community uses and uses a lot. But I know when I left that meeting that night, I texted both of my daughters and said, don't go to the Jay's Nest because of the structural safety of the of equipment out there. We took the swings down immediately the next day. It was very concerning what we heard, and we did not take lightly the idea of having to take out what's there while honoring the past. We want to keep some elements, and actually Tri-State talked to us about doing some art projects and things like the Blue Jay that's in one of the pictures, keeping that, keeping some of the larger placards, you know, making art out of those to decorate the park. They had lots of ideas of things we could do to incorporate that. You know, I know my late husband worked on this project, and, you know, I have a sentimental attachment to it too, but I want my grandchildren safe. And so I think at this point, we're here.
And I would say that, you know, if this is the decision that council makes, I think we would close it sooner rather than later.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments from council? We'll go Councilman Quillen first.
Yeah, I think it's a perception, no, with the community that this is only a playground. Why is it going to take so long? Why are we're asking for donations? Why we're looking for grants and so forth? So I heard an estimated value of what this is going to cost. So I think the community needs to know approximately what the value is to build this. So
Correct, you're 100% correct, and I think that's one of the things that we'll be able to determine once we put out a survey, and we're hopeful that the community will participate in that for us, because we want to know what kind of elements they want out there. We want to make sure that all the children, you know, across all walks of life are able to be serviced. And so I think that's really going to drive that cost. We also need to take into consideration, one of the things we need to do is ask GMB to redo their proposal, because we really need to work on the drainage that's out there right now. We do have a drainage problem, and so we need to make sure we correct that before we put anything new.
Correct.
But as soon as that information becomes available, I think, you know, the plan is to be as transparent as possible and keep that, I guess, update, if you will, of where we're going and how it's progressing.
but I think they need to know it's not going to be a $50,000 project.
Correct.
This is hundreds
Correct.
Of,
This is hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're absolutely correct. Which is why it needs to be faced.
Yeah.
Councilman Holland.
You're right, a newcomer. So is it going to be wood, or are you going to be more modern? It's going to be redundant?
I think it was a unanimous agreement that we do not need to go back with wood structure, because we will be back in the same position in another 20 years. And
Right.
I don't think that serves the community as best as it.
And this
And
will
what-
be
oh,
planted in cement and things like that too,
Yeah.
as well. So it's going to
And
be
one
well.
thing we talked about was, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the one in Laurel. You know, it's a Nanacook Indian theme, and it's, you know, different stories. You know, I think when we get together and start working on this as the committee and start developing this, I think we can plan to Seaford. I mean, I could see a Nanacook River theme, and, you know, having a woodland fairy kind of apparatus, having the big nest with the blue jay in it. I mean, I think there's things we can do to incorporate our city, like Laurel did with the history of theirs.
Given the new material, was there any talk about the duration of the new material, how long that would last?
No, there was not.
Any additional questions or comments from council? All right.
I'm so sorry.
If there are no questions or comments at this time, I'll set the motion.
Councilwoman Grassett, I'd like to make the following motion. To A, establish a public survey to receive input on the future improvements and desired elements in the renovated playground. B, to close the playground and remove all elements due to structural deterioration. C, to request an updated proposal from the city engineer, George Miles and Burr, for drainage repairs and improvements that are need to make ready the existing area for future playground structures. And D, approve the submission of a 25%, 75% matching grant submission to ORPT for various renovations and repairs to the facility, and include the 25% match funds in our FY27 budget for consideration.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Grassett. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I will second that.
We have a second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, it passes unanimously.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of the community for valuing this quality of life component. And, you know, a lot of times we look at dollars, and this is a big quality of life thing, so thank you.
Amen to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. On to new business number 2.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Not quite sure what height we should set this mic at. So Chief and I are here this evening to submit before the council a application for the Prescription Opioid Settlement Distribution Commission, what we're terming the Nutter Park Prevention Hub. A quick overview of our submission and our initiative. It's going to include environmental safety improvements. We're going to do crime prevention through environmental design informed improvements to the park. We're going to look at evidence-based youth programming, community harm reduction, education, social determinant, resource coordination, law enforcement community engagement, and of course, a data-driven evaluation and sustainability planning, so that we can carry this initiative beyond, you know, the 1 year that we're putting in for currently. What makes this submission a little bit unique is that it is an alignment of 3 partners, and we have the other 2 partners with us here tonight. But it will be the Seaford Police Department. We are primarily focused on the infrastructure improvements as the lead agency. Out Loud Delaware will handle the primary programming initiative for the submission, and then the Sussex County Health Coalition. They will kind of be in charge of coordination, sustainability planning, and all 3 of the branches will kind of work together to make this thing a reality. So generally, our roles in this program would be that we would maintain the bonfire portal. We'd oversee the fiscal compliance of it. We'd coordinate all the infrastructure improvements. And some of these have a tendency to change depending on where our estimates and things come back at. But we're looking at court resurfacing, lighting installation, surveillance system integration, adding more cameras, things like that. Sidewalk improvements, and then community equipment upgrades for the department, all in the idea that these types of improvements will improve the capability of the neighborhood and the community to access the programming and the education and the preventional components provided by the partners. It's also going to have some of the OT for our community engagement team, so that our officers can go out there and interact with kids, you know, in a real specialized format. And we will be reporting our data on, you know, incidents from the park and you know, hopefully showing some change and decrease, because we have had a couple noticeable incidents in the last year, you know, with the homicide in the park, and then another homicide in the, you know, East Seaford area as well. So our programming partner is Out Loud Delaware. Their roles for this is generally they will hold monthly community sessions, quarterly community events, quarterly community listening sessions, so that they can adjust their programming based off of how the community responds and what they want to see, what they feel is effective. And then they will manage their aspect of the grant and bring up their KPIs, their key performance indicators, to show how their programming is working in the community. And their goals, again, are SEPTED, crime prevention through environmental design, activity support, natural surveillance, right? When you have more people at the park who are there in a positive manner, you have more people watching out for negative behavior and a deterrent to negative behavior in that park and in that community. And it also increases community ownership and pride in your area. You know, we talk about, we just had the Jay's Nest presentation up here. You know, a rundown Jay's Nest, part of it is, you know, a pride factor too. So the Sussex County Health Coalition, that's the third partner. They will be systems coordination. So most of you probably know Peggy and Midline. You know, they know just about everyone who you know, has their hand in programming or health or prevention in this area, and they will be working on systems planning, ensuring that our programming is the most efficient, that we're not being redundant, and they will do their own independent reporting as well and data collection. So this chart here is just kind of threading all three aspects of that together. I know it's a little small and difficult to see, you know, but that just kind of highlights what I said, how all three partners will be interacting with each other and who's going to be responsible for what. The general budget for this project, for this application, you can see it, SPD will be allocated about $91,907.70. I think they throw that 70 cents in there just to make it difficult for us. Out Loud will get about $100,000 for their programming piece of it, and then Sussex County Health Coalition will get $80,000. So each of the three partners will be required to submit their own scope and budget through the bonfire application portal. They'll maintain their own independent monthly reporting, quarterly reporting, but they will provide their outcome data to us, and it will adhere to the opioid settlement mandatory financial tracking system. So that way we will be able to participate in the consolidated annual evaluations for the program and make better judgments on how we proceed in future years. Because this is year one of a potential 12-year grant submission. So the comprehensive prevention ecosystem model, it integrates all those various factors, you know, environmental stabilization, youth development, harm reduction, community engagement, social determinant intervention, law enforcement relationship building, data-driven accountability, long-term sustainability planning. Basically everything that each of the partners is good at working together, right, to make the best possible outcomes. That's basically what that says and what our goal is with this submission. When we talk sustainability model, these are just some images of what the park might or could look like with this application or with future application programming. You know, we are talking about one of our community needs as a police department is some sort of community or you know, police athletic league type trailer that we can take out to events, store equipment in, so officers can interact with the kids. You know, hopefully a concession type window. You know, hand out some freeze pops in the summer, those types of things. It allows us to have some program mobility as well. The Health Coalition will braid funding in, kind of cover the gaps, find out where we have some shortfalls, see where they can bring in other partners like Tidal Health, some of their other avenues to contribute to the programming, to the funding, and really make it even more successful than we think it will be. And ultimately, it's about long-term, repeatable improvement in that park, in that community, you know, in the whole town for our youth and for, you know, prevention, education, and health. So it is a strategy that we're very proud of and that we're working on currently. So any questions for myself or Chief? Or any of our partners, they're here too.
Any question, Vice Mayor Henderson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's high time that we had something like this. I think some of you might remember in 2018, Jamie Nutter came out here and asked us to join in on a lawsuit against McKesson and these others. And then we joined in with the state of Delaware. And that was 6 years or 8 years ago. So it's high time that we start seeing the benefits of some of this settlement money to go back to restoring the cost, the raw cost plus the social cost of this epidemic. So I'm really grateful to you, both of you, and to the partners for putting all this together so that we can start to recover.
If I may tie into that a little bit, there might be people tuning in tonight that may not have any knowledge of the prescription opioid settlement itself. Can you guys maybe like elevator pitch, give us like just a little background on what that is, people are aware of what that actually is?
Chief, why don't you touch on that
Yeah.
one? I don't want to misspeak on something.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Prescription Opioid Settlement Distribution Commission was founded after the Department of Justice did a lawsuit against all these major pharmaceutical companies across the country. City of Seaford, if I remember right, was the first one to actually sign on to that lawsuit, along with like 7 other towns or cities across the state of Delaware. And then what happened was when those millions of dollars came in, phase 1, 2, and 3, they were competitive. So the cities and towns that actually signed on to make the lawsuit actually feasible for them to do it weren't getting any of the funds without being competitive. And the way that the requirements were written, really it wasn't written for towns and cities to be able to get the funds back like what you're seeing right here. So I think there was a big push for that. And then what happened was City of Seaford has gotten the $271,907.70 approved and allotted every year for the next 12 years, as long as we do a program that meets the funding eligibility in accordance with those prescription opioid settlement distribution. So the education and prevention piece is specifically dealing with any and everything dealing with drug prevention, right? But as Peggy will tell you, social determinants of health, I've heard it for 7 years. No one does it better. And that's not just health, if I understand it right. That's everything. That's shelter, food, health, everything, even the prevention piece that we're talking about here today, and bringing those resources in here for that. And then when we met with Jay Lynn and Out Loud Delaware, just on another whole level. And so when we're talking about the park, the one thing that wasn't touched on, Jay Lynn's already in the high school. So this prevention piece, Nutter Park Prevention Hub is what we're focusing on, because we want to gather in place in a community that's been significantly impacted traumatically over the last 30 years, 3-4 decades, whatever it's been now, 3 decades at least. And so this prevention piece is going to take place in the schools. In the high school right now, with the opportunity maybe to go to the middle school, also over to the Boys and Girls Club, also at Chandler in the community room. So it's going to be a community program citywide, but there's going to be a focus of gathering to enhance a park for gathering for people, for more programming within that park to give kids something to do and some opportunity, and making them proud of the community that they have. So that's really the goal of it. And that prescription opioid funds, we were fortunate in phase 3. We did get a $500,000 grant. We presented to council. That program's just been approved last week, and we're working now, so maybe in the next month it'll actually be in place. And that will be tied, SCORI will be tied with this as a resource, because it's all intertwined. So I think that the city is going to really benefit over the next decade, and in particular in a community that's had 2/3 of all shootings in the city for years, and a overwhelming amount of ACEs, as they call it, adverse childhood experiences from the trauma of everything that's happened. So you can't just go in there for a month or even a year. It's got to be constant and ongoing, and that's what this program's going to do. And that's what those funds are going to do. And that's how we kind of came to this today. Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
I have one question. What's your timeline to be able to get some? I mean,
Well,
I'm just saying, when I drove here tonight, you know, it's already starting to get warm. They're hanging out in the streets and playing and things. You know, summer's coming when, you know,
So I'll give you the
a
timeline.
principal loves summer, but kids
Charles, we
don't.
found out about us being eligible now
Yep.
for this funding end of December. It was brought to my attention sometime early January because of the holidays and whatnot, and no one had an idea of what it was going to be because there was no program or phase that described it. So fast forward with everything that was going on, we had a meeting maybe 3 weeks ago with the director that oversees the funds. And that's when I'd already started putting a plan together. Charles and I kind of brainstormed about it. We knew Nutter needed to be a focal point. And then that brought in a lot of challenges for what we needed to do other than just that. And so we had a couple meetings with a couple really well-known or at least citywide type, nonprofits. And the second one was Jalen Without Loud, and she just completely knocked it out of the park. She's already doing drug prevention programming. She's already doing violence programming. She already has been doing this for years. She already has been involved with grants with prescription opioid. And we had already met with Midleen and with Peggy, right? Because Seaford Community Hope has been a partner of ours for 7 years that I've been here. And she does an outstanding job. She's already got the pulse of the community. And Peggy, same thing. I've been in meetings and programs with her for 7 years. And no one does a better job of coordination of resources and intertwining and braiding all that together. So that came about within, a week and a half ago? Yep. The deadline is tomorrow for the submission of the grant. We didn't get the link in the bonfire until Friday. I submitted mine about an hour before or so I came here, maybe an hour and a half before I came here, and they're going to have theirs submitted tomorrow. There's an awful lot of work that goes into it. So what happened is if the council doesn't approve it, then nothing venture, nothing gain. I know that you will, I would hope anyway, because this is a great program.
Twist the arm there, huh?
Yeah, I'm twist your arm. No one's going to give it up. But we have probably two of the best partners that we could have to make this a success. And I'm really excited about it. Tyler is. They are. I think the city leadership is really excited. We even have an anthem that we created.
I heard.
Yeah, and it's the vision is to get the kids involved and produce that song in the school so they have buy-in, because if they get ownership of it, that'll be spreading the message of no violence, no drugs. Same thing with some of the church choirs. And that's kind of how we're going to go about that. And I think moving forward, I think you're going to see a huge impact. Timeline-wise, they meet on March 23rd to vote on the program as a board. I'm hoping to hear something by the end of March. And I think the funds are going to be cut loose very quickly based on our conversation with him. So realistically, I think we could be rolling before summer, before school's out. And then that'll relay into maybe summer school. I'm not sure how they're going to tie that in over the summer yet. Maybe we can throw that over there.
Or at least tie it in, because that's one of the points where the school district distributes food. You know,
Yep.
lunch groups or something, tie it in with that somehow.
Yeah, anything drug messaging, but we're tying it in with no violence too. And, the Health Coalition, what they do with with their resources too. We could have some small grants that will help offset some other needs that they're going to have over there. But once again, there may be things held, at different locations, but the focus is going to be East Seaford. So I hope that answers the question. Mm-hmm. It's a quick turnaround on this one.
Did I hear you correctly that there's an anthem?
Yeah, there is.
You care to spin a few bars for us, Chief?
I was going to say, I was told that you were going to sing it, Chief.
Trisha's got the mic. Tyler's actually going to sing it, and we're going to have some backup.
Got the backup and everything.
Yeah, well, this is catchy. It's 3 minutes long.
I was kidding, but I guess here we go.
You're not going to get it. You're going to get a taste of it.
How about to say?
It's 3 minutes long.
We won't play the whole song.
Can I ask a real quick question? Chief, or Deputy Chief, any thought about...
Hold on. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were struggling there with your technology, though.
That's a lot of emails, text messages I had in there. Yeah. What was that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, ask your question.
No, my question would be, is there any thought about community funding involvement? I thought I read about some type of sponsorship for the trailer.
So I don't want to put it out yet, but we do have a guy I've known for decades. It's a great guy. He's a business owner here, in the city, within the city area. And he's willing to donate $10,000 to $12,000 to be able to help us purchase that trailer. And that's huge. And, he's been wanting to be a partner for a long time. We've just been waiting for the right program. But when it does come about, if everything gets approved and we can get the trailer through the prescription opioid settlement funds, as long as it's a qualifier, they don't eliminate it, we're going to move forward with it. And then we're going to announce who the sponsor and sponsors are. And we're actually going to put a tribute on the back of the trailer for the organization or anyone that helps us out, because we're still going to need funding to wrap it. And, and some other things, down the road. But this will be huge to get us started.
Yeah, we've got the funding, or, as Chief said, we generally believe we have funding to purchase the trailer, but there are a lot of other ancillary costs, the wrapping, outfitting. Generator, cabinets and storage inside of the trailer, and all that type of stuff. So, that's generally where I think that effort is aimed at, what you saw.
Okay,
Give you
thank
like a minute or so of the song. We won't play all 3 minutes.
It's for everybody in our town, every street, every family. Seaford, we see you. Yeah. Long days, hard roads we've been through. Some nights feel heavier than they should. Seen the struggles, felt the pressure too. Trying to build a better neighborhood. Kids with dreams on every block, parents working around the clock. Every heart just wants a chance for peace, for hope, for a better path in this city. Here's your voice, every life matters here. No matter where you come from, you belong right here. Seaford strong, we rise together. Every voice and every dream. Different stories, one community. Stronger than we've ever been. No drugs, no violence in our streets. Hope is louder than defeat. Side by side we stand as one. Seaford strong, our future's begun. Yeah. From the parks to the schoolyard lights, neighbors hope and neighbors rise. Different cultures, faiths and names, but hope runs through us all the same. Police, teachers, coaches too. Standing here believing in you. Every kid deserves to see a future full of possibility. Every family, every street, every voice deserves to be heard. Together we can build a place where every dream is worth. Seaford strong, we rise together. Every voice and every dream.
So that song's what we're envisioning, having the students, produce their own version. As you can see, the messaging, no drugs, no violence, partnerships, everyone working together, a better city. That's the whole message, and having some church choirs do the same thing in different languages, and then just bringing it all together out at the park for one big aerial overhead video. And Tricia volunteered to do a collage video. I know I heard it, but that's the message. So that's why you can see we're getting really excited about the program, and I think it's going to be a success. Thanks to everybody's hard work, our partners, Charles, Tricia, everybody that was involved in it, and we really appreciate the opportunity and what you did to get the funds, because you had to fight for those funds.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's how the chief spends his weekends, by the way.
Yeah.
He's a poet and he does know it.
That was chat and Suno, but a lot of work went into it.
Any additional questions or comments from council?
Any questions from the sub-grantees?
All right. If there are no additional questions or comments, at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the proposed grant submission utilizing prescription opioid settlement distribution funding that would create a prevention hub in Nutter Park as presented.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, I will second that one.
We have a second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief. Yeah.
See if,
I don't know how you're going to follow that up there.
See
New
if-
business
yeah.
number 3.
You want to get applause too,
You
Mike?
got a song with you, Mike? Come
No
on.
songs here.
You don't have a code rap or something?
Tonight,
Okay.
next time.
maybe. Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm here to present a first reading to revisions to Chapter 15 that would add requirements for parking areas for vehicles being used for people with disabilities. So it was, last year, the state actually adopted a code in Title 21 that required municipalities and counties to add these sections to their code if they didn't already have it, which basically gives us some language in here for ADA or handicap parking spaces where any commercial business that has them cannot restripe them, repave, or anything without coming get a permit first. Currently, we don't require permits for striping and paving, but this will give us some authority over them to review their parking spaces to make sure that what they're putting back does meet ADA code. And it gives us some direction on the sizing of the signs, where they can go, how high they have to be, and some other things like that, with some enforcement on them as well if they don't follow the rules that we fine them, basically. First offense $100, second, and every other offense after that's $500. So hopefully it doesn't come to that. Shouldn't be too hard for them just to submit a little site plan showing their proposed redevelopment of their parking lots. So we never had this before. We did fall back on ADA regulations on them, but now we have some guidelines and language in our code that we can fall back on if we need to.
Okay. Do you have any questions or comments on new business number 3?
Just a comment, ever since our meeting Monday, and we talked about this, I've been cognizant of when I've gone places, and you don't realize how many places their signs are missing or the pavement is completely faded, and you can't tell if it's blue lines anymore. And I know you described that's part of what this is going to take care of, but start looking when you go out, and you'll be surprised how many violations there are.
Yeah, if we
I
get,
saw 3 today that I went to.
Yep.
I was looking myself.
if we get complaints, we can certainly go after those folks and approach them about coming in compliance.
Yep. That's what happened here.
All right. Any additional questions or comments? If there are none at this time, there is no motion for new
Yes,
business number 3.
this will come back on the next meeting for the required public hearing and second reading.
Thank you, Mike. On to new business number 4.
So new business number 4 is for revisions to Chapter 9, where we are updating our plumbing code from the 2018 international version to the 2021 international version. This goes hand in hand with the next new business number 5 for the building code, which is, it's not the most recent code version, but it's the one previous to that, which we kind of stay on. It's the same version that the county uses. So we're going to stay right in line with the county, make things easier for our contractors that come in for permits that they're not working in 2 different code books. So basically, it's going to strike out all of Chapter 9, rewrite it, updates to the 2021 edition.
Okay. Any questions or comments on new business number 4? All right. We'll keep it moving to new business number 5.
New business number,
Vice Mayor, please.
There are amendments which the state adopts for plumbing code. How, if you're, actually, I think the state may be on the 2024 code. So
yeah.
if you're lagging, say that the county.
The county doesn't adopt the plumbing code, I believe.
Right,
They
it's
follow
just
the
the
state.
mechanical, or not the mechanical
The
code,
building.
but the building code.
Yes.
How does that, because you're doing a plumbing inspection based on 2021, but somebody out across the line is doing work on the 2024 code. is there some particular reason why because there's amendments in the code, which can't be more lenient, but can be more strict than the code as it's written. So I'm just curious how that works when you have a state code. It's actually a state law. How you're going to enforce a code that's older?
Yeah, I think I can help a little bit here. Typically and you talked about it, we're responsible here for basically all the inspections, building and plumbing. We typically like to use the entire suite of codes so they work together. That's one of the reasons why we adopt the 21, so that it's the full suite of codes. If you don't, you can get reference problems, things like that. Typically, my memory, and it's been a long time since I've done it, you've done it much sooner than I have, but a lot of the state revisions are handled in our public works inspections, type of pipe. I remember there were some depth things we did to mirror the state code. So typically, those are handled there. Certainly, if there are any conflicts from any plumber that has any questions, working in the county, in the state, they bring it to the building official, the inspector. Ultimately, the building official makes the decision, and then he has to interpret the living document of the code and make a determination on that. And I'll be honest, and I haven't done it for many, many years, but I don't think you get a lot of those questions.
We do not.
Okay.
No.
So typically, they know what's expected. The biggest problem that I recall, and I think in talking with Mike, the builders are the ones that really have the problem. If you change the
Right.
code on them and you get out ahead of the county, specifically with residential sprinkling is a big one that we get a lot of questions on.
Yeah, the county used to have different things for their stair treads and risers, which they don't anymore, thankfully. They're by the book, just like us, so that really cleared a lot of things up.
Typically the plumbers,
Yeah, the plumbers know what they're doing.
they typically don't have as many concerns as builders, national builders coming in.
hope.
Yeah.
They
We don't,
typically,
we don't have the
typically
issues
do.
out of the plumbers like
Yeah,
some
and
of
we
the
hold,
builders.
we do, as you know, we hold a bond on plumbers because of the systems that we own,
Yes,
they
I
work
know.
on. Yes. So they're calling in advance, they're making sure they're not jeopardizing their bond. I don't know if that helps you, sir.
Well, it just, as a hypothetical, this International Plumbing Code gets revised every 3 years, so next year you'll have a new code. And the state, the plumbing board and the legislature will adopt that new code as soon as legislatively possible, right? They've done a lot better in recent years because they used to lag back 8 or 9 years, 9 years. Up to. So supposing there's been a significant change in the code in the 2024 and all the plumbers are running around town and it's a more lenient code and you're going by the 2021 code, does not the state law, or it's in the Delaware Code, it's a law, have an overarching jurisdiction?
Typically, that's correct, right? Local law is trumped by state law is trumped by federal law. You're typically correct. In between the readings, we have a second reading, we can download what the
Yes, absolutely.
revisions to the state code are from the model code, and we can see if there's any conflicts, and we can certainly report back on
Yeah.
that in the second reading.
I'd be curious what that's like, because it is kind of in my wheelhouse.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to spend a whole lot of energy on it, but it is of particular interest to me.
Yeah, we can download those and see how it,
Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow.
Any additional questions or comments on new business number 4? Okay. And now on to new business number 5.
All right, so new business number 5 is a revision to Chapter 4, Article 1, that would update the building code to the 2021 edition of the International Building Code. This is for buildings, residential, and existing building code. Same thing, just striking out all the existing Article 1, rewriting it for the 2021 edition. No major changes for us in it. If residential sprinklers is still there as an option, it's not a requirement. The county doesn't even have that. I mean, I think if people want to do it in the county, they can, but they strike that whole section out of there. So we did make it as an option. If they want to do it, they certainly can. So no biters yet, and we've had that language in the code for 5 or 6 years.
Any questions from council on new business number 5? Vice Mayor.
So I guess I'll take this opportunity to recommend that the Seaford, City of Seaford does have a fund for those who wish to engage in limited residential sprinklers. There's an incentive to do that. The next question is, if they decide to do it, it has to be code compliant.
Correct.
Right, so it's in there as an option, but if you exercise the option, you still have to be
Yeah, and it
compliant.
references those
Right.
compliance codes in the language.
Thank you.
Any additional questions or comments? All right, and there's no motion for new business number 5. So we're on to new business number 6.
Burley Mears, Director of Public Works, has requested to hold citywide cleanup week, May 11th through May 15th, 2026. So if council is in agreement, we'll certainly get that out on social media. We'll do our normal notifications for people. The only one thing we would ask as a city is just for people, if this date is set, if people would refrain from putting their items out until a week before, just so that it doesn't stay out for a long period of time, get wet, fall apart, blow all over the neighborhoods. That's always a concern that we have. But that's the recommendation from the Director of Public Works, should council desire to approve that.
Typically, is this around the same timeline year over year?
Yes, sir, it is.
Any additional questions or comments from council? If there are none, at this time, I'll set the motion.
Councilman McQuillan, I make the motion to accept the recommendation by Burley Mears, Director of Public Works, to hold a citywide cleanup week on May 11th through May 15th, 2026, as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Quillen. Is there a second?
Councilman Holland, I second that motion.
We have a second from Councilman Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes unanimously. Now to new business number 7.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I have good news to share. On March 2nd, we actually went to settlement on 121 South Conwell Street with the Nanticoke Watershed Alliance and the Chesapeake Conservancy. All 3 partners pooled funds together to acquire that property. It was a strategic property. During the settlement process, that property was subdivided, so the portion that the city actually purchased for $150,000 is that back half, the lot that's adjacent to the Nanticoke River. Certainly, this piece is a very strategic piece for us. As you know, it neighbors right next to our Oyster House Park. It also will allow us to ensure that the interceptor sewer project that has to be done can be done cost effectively. We can get that up out of the floodplain. So we're excited for what this particular parcel means to us and what the future, how it can blend in with Oyster House Park and some of the things that we can do there. This is a great piece. Nanticoke Watershed Alliance is going to use the house in this. I'll go back to this picture. They're going to use this as their headquarters. They're currently located in Vienna, Maryland. I know they were at our last council meeting that we've worked with them. They've been a great partner. They've been able to help the city in green infrastructure projects well over $500,000 over the years. So it'll be great to have them right here in our own community. They actually did some right on that street not too long ago. So they've got some great pride there as well, bringing the jobs here. They believe in doing what we're doing from an environmental standpoint. They're excited to be able to see this brought in as well with the Oyster House Park. They're really excited. I met with the executive director last Friday. We went through the house with folks from WBOC, and you could just see the excitement and the pride. Their staff is so ready to get in there, so they should be moving in within the next couple weeks. So, and then certainly our staff has met already on site with regard to all the things as far as getting the site cleaned up, what we need to do as ongoing maintenance, and then we'll strategically start to look at that and how that blends in with that Oyster House Park. But this is definitely an example of what a collaborative mindset and a unified vision can do. You know, this sort of, you know, we've talked a long time, even with the Chesapeake Conservancy, about if we could just ever get that property, and then Nanticoke Watershed Alliance just happened to be looking for an office, and the conversation was started, and we really didn't think that this was going to happen, and here we are today. It actually has happened. So I would be remiss if I did not thank Randall Larimore. I know many of you know the tenacity that he had to help us acquire this property. He worked very closely with the Seiler family. They've been wonderful through this whole process. The Nanticoke Watershed Alliance, the Conservancy, everybody has been on board. And certainly thank you to the council. I mean, this was done under the direction of what was allowed on the November 11th, 25 council meeting to go after this property. So we're excited to keep this part of our community, excited to expand the footprint of what our community can access the Nanticoke River.
All right. Any questions or comments from council? If there are none at this time, I'll accept the motion.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Holland make the following motion. Whereas November 11th, 2025, City Council unanimously passed a motion, 1, to approve the city manager expenditure to the necessary funds towards the due diligence and purchase of real estate per the executive session the same evening, subject to the further amendments as may be necessary and appropriate to close on the proposed sale of the real estate consistent with the discussion in executive session. 2, to authorize the city manager to negotiate additional edits to the draft purchase and sales agreement that do not materially alter the intent or terms of the transaction as may be necessary to close on the proposed sale of the real estate consistent with the discussion in executive session. And number 3, to authorize the mayor, city manager to execute necessary documents to close on the proposed sale of real estate consistent with the discussion in executive session. Whereas it's consistent with the aforesaid authorization on March 2nd, 2026, the city and the Nanticoke Watershed Alliance closed on the transaction whereby the city purchased the residual lot totaling approximately 0.42 acres of land located on 121 South Conwell Street, part of Sussex County Tax Mapping Parcel number 431-7.00-22-00. Now therefore to the extent of additional approval by City Council necessary with regard that the aforesaid sale of the real estate, the City Council hereby so ratifies said transaction as presented.
We have a motion from Councilman Holland. Is there a second?
Councilwoman Grassett, I second.
We have a second from Councilwoman Grassett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much as well. And now on to old business number 1.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, we're going to do the second reading for the revision to Chapter 8 Article 11, that would add the electronic speed monitoring system program to city's code book. Generally, this ordinance establishes the commonly known as the speed camera program for Seaford. It's the very first step in a very long process that the chief and I would have to engage in order to further explore and proceed with speed cameras. But just an overview of the program again. These speed cameras are run through a third-party vendor that's approved through the state. They are required by DelDOT to have speed studies conducted on a street that you want to use it on within the year. They would only issue civil citations to the registered owners of the vehicles that can be contested. There's a process for that, and it would generally start at 11 miles an hour over the speed limit. They are mobile, so they can be moved around to address speeding in various areas in the community and residential districts. That is generally the overview of the program. The ordinance matches the state law pretty closely. Any questions?
Councilman Cullen first, if you don't mind.
Yes. It's already been out into the media already, which was on WBOC tonight, and no mention of what all these funds are going to be going to. So the first perception that the community is going to see that this is just a fundraising for the city. And I think it just needs to be declared through the media that this is not the case, that all the proceeds is going to be going back to this initiative, and that, there are going the program is, or the funding from this for the citations will go towards the just the implementation and the equipment to start this program.
Yeah. There's been a lot of big numbers thrown about, a number of big numbers, especially that have been shown from Route 1 cameras, 95 cameras. I know we talked about last meeting, when we did our speed study on West Stein Highway, the number of violations and, kind of the real basic math behind what that would lead to. But per the ordinance and the state law, the revenue produced from this program can only go to cover the costs incurred by the city for the installation of and maintenance of the program. So, it can buy the cameras, it can pay for the staff to run the program, but it does not produce a net profit for the city. It just covers the costs. Anything over and above the costs to the city that comes in goes to the Office of Highway Safety for their distribution towards highway safety programs. So it's not a money-making tool for the city. It is a safety tool, and we anticipate it basically being a neutral cost program as well.
Councilman Bradley.
Now, I was at the meeting with Danny Short, and correct me if I'm wrong, the city could receive funding from the intake, but it had to be by request to the state. Is that correct?
I'm not sure I understand the question. I mean, we're going to...
In other words, they get the proceeds.
No,
But-
the proceeds actually come to us.
says goes back to the Office of Highway Safety. There are grant programs through the Office of Highway Safety
Right.
that we can then apply for and do public safety initiatives. I'm way out of my wheelhouse there. So.
Yeah. We anticipate and hope that obviously when an organization like the Office of Highway Safety gets a influx of cash, that they would turn that into other safety initiatives, overtime opportunities for the officers, DUI enforcement, things like that.
Well,
That
my
they
thought-
already do and just would hopefully increase or some other
Right,
programs.
my
grants.
thoughts were if you needed additional officers and that type thing, that they would, now I see the head going like
Yeah.
that. See,
It's a very new program even at the state level, and so I think a lot of these discussions are probably still happening,
Okay.
even at the state level, about what they're going to do with these funds, if they're going to divert them to other places and things like that. So it, I don't want to get too far out in front of it and say, well, we're going to get funding here or there.
We just don't know.
Or wherever.
Thank you.
Any additional comments or questions from council?
When they reported it on the news tonight, did they talk about our statistics that we had of how many?
No, it was very brief, and I thought, Deputy Chief, they actually said they did an interview with him, but they did not do the interview on TV tonight.
If I could just real
Uh-oh.
I was at the statewide chiefs today, this morning, talking with the deputy director for OHS, and there are some changes coming, just to make it, put it to the council, coming in June-ish. There is a proposal in the new language for those funds to no longer just be going strictly to OHS. And this benefits everybody statewide. I think DelDOT is potentially going to get funding from it, OHS, and Homeland Security. There's rate and fee bills out there right now that are potentially going to be taking funds from a grant that we already get every year. It's called the Funds to Combat Violent Crime. And so if Homeland Security gets supplanted with some of these funds from these citations, then that might help make up some losses that could potentially impact cities and towns across the state. So, but as far as profiting on them, the whole goal for this is to reduce crashes and improve public safety. Just today, we got a report. Year to date, this year, we've had 15 fatalities. Year to date, 2025, there was 11. You can see the spike is coming back. It's much needed. It's for community safety and public safety, and it's not for profit. So I just think that's the message that the media should potentially maybe focus on a little bit, looking at the fatality picture statewide over the past 5 or 6 years, because it's not a real good look. So.
Agreed.
I just think the statistic that you shared last time, that in a month's time, we could have issued 40,000 tickets on West Stein Highway.
4 days, it would have paid for an entire year's worth of.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that statistic alone is just
Mind-boggling.
So the education from this, hopefully, will slow people down, and hopefully we won't have to go back to doing this next year, maybe. But this will take about 10 months to turn this around, probably, if all goes well.
I do have one question about the systems themselves, and we may have covered this last time, I don't remember, but if one were to malfunction, how readily available are they?
That is a question that we have discussed with the vendor.
Yeah.
They are responsible for the replacement and repair of any of the systems. So it's not I will say it's not a cost to the city if one gets damaged or malfunctions. How quickly they could turn around a malfunctioning one or a damaged one, I don't know just yet. I think some of this program has caught even them by surprise, and they are still trying to build out their operations a little bit more. But that's something we are investigating.
It's kind of what I was alluding to. The program seems to be gaining a lot of steam. Does it mean
I
these
imagine
systems
it
might
will.
be more like on a back order because they're kind of going everywhere now? So I was just thinking out loud. Is all.
Well, we are still, in Delaware, we are still, I would say, in that front pack of municipalities. I mean, there's only, there's DelDOT, Newark, and Newcastle County. They're the only other agencies probably that are to my knowledge, that are farther along in the process than we are.
For now. For now.
Yeah.
For now.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Any additional questions or comments from council? If there are none, I'll set the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the revisions to Chapter 8 by adding Article 11 to the municipal code that would outline electronic speed monitoring system requirements as presented.
We have a motion from Vice Mayor Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Bradley, I second the motion.
We have a second from Councilman Bradley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, passes unanimously. Thank you, Deputy Chief. All right, going to move on to the reminder of meetings.
So we have no meetings, but I do want to mention the municipal election upcoming on Saturday, April 18th, 2026. And if you'll indulge me just for a second, the ballot that will be on the election will not include the mayor. The mayor is running unopposed. It will, however, include 3 council positions. There are 3 persons running for 2 council seats. So that'll be Vice Mayor Dan Henderson, Councilman Mike Bradley, and Roberto Santos have filed for council, and that'll be the ballot. And I'd just like to read into the record, Title 15, Section 7555J of the Delaware Code provides, quote, where the number of qualified candidates for an office is equal or less than the number of seats up for election, the Board of Elections shall declare the candidate or candidates elected. Also, Section 7A of Seaford Charter provides, quote, if there is only one official candidate for any office and no formal opponent, the official candidate shall assume office without holding a formal election for that office. So that's the reasoning behind the mayor not being on the ballot because he is running unopposed. The Board of Election will, however, have to declare him elected at the election, but that will be, again, the municipal election Saturday, April 18th, only 3 persons on the ballot. That is all I have, sir.
Thank you for that clarity. At this time, I'm going to move on to our liaison reports. We're going to begin with Code, Parks and Recreation, and Councilwoman Stephanie Grassett.
And I'm waiting for my report to open.
That's okay. Just building the,
I could sing a song too for, no, I'm kidding.
building the drama.
Use this one.
Yeah, mine's just sitting there.
That's okay.
I'm having a problem with mine, too.
The anticipation is killing me.
All
I'll
right,
tell you.
so as in, for the code department, there have been 40 permits issued in 2026. Rental licenses are holding at 1,865. They are doing rental inspections, and they do have late fees that were sent out for 50 rental licenses. So if you are one of those 50, get yourself in here and pay. They are also doing routine inspections and violations inspections throughout the city. As far as large projects, Bel Air is now waiting for dedication inspection, so then that will be released once that last bit of sewer testing passed. Other new things, they are doing stormwater work along Atlanta Road for the Nylon Capital. Project Mod Wash is looking to open in April. Governor's Grant, Phase 4, D.R. Horton has 2 homes under construction. The permit has been issued for Aldi. Site work has started. Cookout, the final revised plans have been approved. And Seaford Inn, if many people noticed, Seaford Inn, it went to settlement on January 26th. They have reshingled the roof and started work on siding. They've cleaned up their landscaping. And hopefully they will be here on March 24th at our next meeting to share with us any updates there. But we're all happy to see progress there in that site. Next, with Parks and Recreation, our Parks Department obviously was out there clearing city sidewalks and parks of snow. They've switched quickly now to spring, and they've completed the servicing on all the mowers for the upcoming cutting season. They've worked on the softball fields to prepare them for the first tournament, and they did go ahead and remove the swings from the Jay's Nest Playground after our committee meeting. We have 270 kids registered for youth soccer. We will have 26 teams, which is wonderful. They are sorting out the players and also getting uniforms for those. We have received paperwork and a deposit for a semi-pro football team to return to play 4 games of the complex this spring. And our superintendent attended the Delaware Recreation and Park Society Conference and was able to get some ideas, and also completed and submitted the Parks, Recreation, and Pool budget for FY27. And that is my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Grassett. I'm going to move over to Police and Fire and Vice Mayor Dan Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a fire report for you this evening. However, Chief Kraft did submit a full report, so I'll move on to the Police Department's report. You'll see the 5 columns there with the 2026 partial year. The other 4 years are full years, which you can compare. Under all crimes, there are 142 with a distribution from felony, misdemeanor, violation, civil, and other, and you'll see the distribution there. We have an 89% clearance rate, which is above average, above our average, and above average overall. Under additional crime data, there were 12 complaints, including assault, aggravated assault, burglary, fraud, larceny, and a weapons charge, 5 felonies and 7 misdemeanors, for a 50% clearance rate, and that's well above what we were at last period. There were 19 drug crimes with 15 adult arrests and 4 prosecutions declined. Under traffic, you'll see 184 traffic contacts with a really high ratio of citations to contacts, of 167 citations and 20 warnings. 3 DUIs, 1 crash-related, 27 crashes. We had 5 injury accidents, and you'll see that they were all on city streets. 8 non-reportable accidents and 14 reportable. 6 hit and runs. There were some on private property, but also others on public streets. 1 bicycle accident, which was on private property at the day's end. 1 motorcycle or scooter accident, which was on School Lane and State Street. 1 alcohol-related, or 1 alcohol or drug-related crash. You'll see the distribution there, the number of days, or the days of the week, and the volume, and you'll also see to the right, you can blow it up to see it better, the times of day that are most prevalent for the responses. There's a summary report of significant events over the period that I'll let you go through. And under administration, the chief attended the director, staff, liaison, and council meetings as they were scheduled. There was a gold meeting that the criminal lieutenant attended, the Guns of Lower Delaware meeting, and there was a Tidal Health, Rural Health Hubs meeting with the chief, the city manager, and the director of economic development, and then the Out Loud Delaware meeting with the chief, city manager, and the director of economic development. Under community events, they're revamping the Food On program in partnership with the HELP Initiative, and multiple Seaford PD officers are involved with that. And on March 5th, there was the Tip of Cop for Special Olympics, which we had, well, I know Lieutenant Mills, Cruz, and Ruark were there, and I was pleased to be there to dine, and as they milled around and talked about it. There was even an officer from Milford that participated, and I had an extensive conversation with him, and we lamented the fact that we lost an officer to them some time ago, and they're very happy to have him. Under the police were busy during the snowstorm. The spear team training is ongoing twice a month. The Dover Police Academy is still ongoing, and we still have 3 recruits. Awesome. Conditional hire for 1 applicant, and we're waiting on some testing results so far as.
We received them today.
So that's the path is cleared and the rough places are smoothed out to bring him on board, and we're really fortunate to have this certified officer join. March 6th, there was a tactical alert medical course with the 8 Spear Team officers, and there was a Taser 10 instructor course that 5 PD officers, both patrol officers and CID, attended. So is that to certify instructors? Train the trainer, okay. So we'll have 5 instructors. Wow. Great. And you'll see a total of criminal, a subtotal and total of criminal arrests below in the chart, and that completes my report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Going to move over to administration and Councilman Orlando Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. They met with contractor regarding basketball court repairs at Nelda Park. They also met with Penco president regarding an easement request for the Delaney Street well facility. And they spoke with city solicitor about the ballot makeup for upcoming municipal election. And IT installed SIM cards and patrol cars. And they attended various other meetings and events, and all their work was routine. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Holland. And over to what should be a shocking report. Our electrical liaison, Councilman Mike Bradley.
Totally electrifying. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was troubleshooting for the voltage issue in Westview, and it was from the snow outage, and it was low at the transformer. They repaired several house services during this snowstorm, and it was explained to me that in the past, when meters were read, there was a constant vigilance on need for repair, and naturally it's done in-house now, so they had some catching up to do. Set a transformer on Woodland Road, installed or performed the switching procedure at Seaford Village for mob wash, worked on underground in Governor's Grant Phase 4, trimmed trees at Fred Douglas, did a temporary repair for damaged street lamp on High. It was my understanding a lady was intoxicated at 8 a.m. and the vodka bottle fell out of the car when they opened the door. So a little local color there. Did a troubleshoot of substation outage by Wildlife. Greg attended the rate class review meeting, attended a meeting on new property 112 Conwell, attended Light Up Navajo meet and greet at Demick, and 2 of our people are actually going out west, Jake Smith and Dalton Hignett. And on a sidebar, I'm still disappointed that in this country there are people that do not have electricity. There's going to be a truck on March 26th, 12 to 2 at West Seaford. There was a request for bucket lifts for the children, but that was bypassed. And that covers my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Bradley. By all means.
There was an outage, a significant outage yesterday.
There was.
Could you talk about that?
Yes, sir. Greg Brook reported to the commissioner and I this morning. They don't have a definitive answer. They believe they saw damage to the buswork where a fire had occurred, overflash. They believe it was either some type of squirrel, osprey, something of that nature. Typically, we find it very close to where the accident happens. The crew could not locate it. So they did some troubleshooting. They put the system back in function. It held in. So we can't tell you definitively it was a squirrel or it was a turkey or anything like that, but that's all indications are it was some type of wildlife. Did I get that correct, sir?
So in your terminology, Vice Mayor, the squirrel may be still at large.
Nothing beats the turkey, though. Nothing beats the
Vaporize.
turkey.
That was one of my comments.
Fried turkey.
Tune in next week. And finally, last but not least, to Public Works and Wastewater Treatment Facility and Councilman Alan Quillen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Director Mears was on vacation this past week, so Lisa Gillespie did the report this week. So I'll start off with Public Works. Attended a DRWA conference, working on budget and evaluations, cleared multiple sewer laterals throughout the city, patched spots on Porter Street, cleaned up brine and salt equipment, state water samples were collected, water service replaced on 209 Bradford Street, painting pipes on 534 Treatment Building, and all other weekly routine tasks were completed. Moving over to the wastewater treatment facility and the compost plant and dewatering are performing very well. HibWorks project has started, and the last day for the septic, leachate, and the RV waste was on March the 6th. A DRWA apprenticeship tour is scheduled for March the 25th. Inspecting a bearing noise on the WAS pump number 2, working on the budget, septic and leachate reports, everything completed. Brian and Ryan also attended the DRAW conference on February the 25th and the 26th. And that completes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Quillen.
Sorry, I hit our live button.
Okay. At this time, I would ask to solicit a motion to hold executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel.
So moved.
A motion from Vice Mayor Dan Henderson. Is there a second?
Councilman Quillen, all second.
A second from Councilman Quillen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we're going to enter into executive session. Thank you very much.